Some pretty bad weather in terms of the wind. The wind. I've never known Arizona to be a windy state, but I have to say, the wind here is really getting on my nerves. It pisses me off. It annoys me. There's no, there's no way to escape it. No, when it was windy and you wanted, to brace yourself from the wind, you just walk to a corner of a home or wherever. You can't do that. You can't because the wind is coming from all different directions. The cats have been scared today. It's bad. I don't like it. I don't like it. That's my experience. You might have a different experience, but it's like 4 times a week. These incredibly strong winds. Yeah, I think I'm just overdone with stress, and I think I'm overdone. I should have been taken out of the oven a long time ago. But stupid me, I stay in the oven. So, it is April 5, 2024, 3 days left until the big eclipse. Crazy Pots, Alicia DeMoss, Tranquil Vortex, hello. Sherry Hughes, thank you very much. Wonder Why, Linty London, The Bishop's Wife, hi. Christy Hazelwood, fellow New York, The Bishop's Wife, hi everyone. Any other fellow New Yorkers and New Jersey people here tonight? I'm in New York City and felt New Jersey's 4.8 earthquake this morning. And yeah, a couple of hours ago you just had a 4 on the Richter scale for an aftershock. Scary stuff. Your entire apartment was shaking, rattling, rumbling. I did get a comment underneath my video from another New Yorker. Oh, there she is, Cecilia Amirati, the Bishop's Wife, hello. A New Yorker. It was pretty bad. I had not slept at all last night when it hit. I thought it hit early this morning. Just starting to doze off. Okay, yeah. Alright, so certainly no major damage. I saw recent news broadcasts where they were showing tiny, tiny cracks in roads in New Jersey. No one injured. And I have to wonder if that was a warning shot. A warning shot to the United States. Don't you wonder? We all know that this is just weather warfare that we're living. Christy Hazelwood, hello. Tony DeRosa, hello. MT Ashjenica, hi. Rage Against the Machine. Laura Larson, Something to Chew On, hello. Darren James Spencer, hi. Drops Family Garden, hello. Silent Walk, Aaron Matson, Michael Wilson, and Gershom Brandt. Hi, NT Lamb. It's been windy in North Carolina all week. Huh. Well, this is the kind of wind, look, it would get windy in South Carolina. It got windy in Georgia. It got windy. Nothing like what I'm experiencing here. It goes on all day, and it really feels like it's at least 4 times a week that you don't even want to go out because it's so annoying. So, it feels artificial. It doesn't feel real. That's what I should also say. It doesn't feel real. It feels First of all, it feels way too strong. And it does feel like frequencies are in use. So, yeah, different kind of wind. I understand. Jane Northrup, hello. Barb in Ohio, hi. It's, you know, if you had control over your circumstances, then you could change your circumstances, right? You know, if you weren't happy with them. Not anymore. So, let me show you radar right now, which is here. We still have remnants of the nanobots circulating in the Northeast. Powerful, extremely low frequencies, Montana. And that's a weird shape of precipitation, don't you think? I think so. Got the circulating nanobot precipitators. And this has been here pretty much all day, right here in Arizona, central Arizona, Phoenix area, I guess. Along 2 lines of, what, are you kidding? 2 lines of rain? 4, then 2, what? What is this? Is that rain? No, I don't think so. They're cooking things up. Powerful, extremely low frequencies down here in the Gulf, into Texas. And I guess the nor'easter has moved out from the northeast. Nor'easter, my foot. Well, let me show you what it looked like at 6:30 this morning. Not so much the, well, this is what radar looked like. But I'm going to go to Zoom, where, because I went outside, and I just, what am I looking at with these, the different colors for the sunrise, the hot pink and very bizarre. So I went on Zoom Earth to look at satellite. And this is what we have here. This was 6:30 a.m. Can't get off that. 6:30 a.m. But I was also looking at the circling nanobots on the the coast areas of California. But look at this. Really? So people are going to claim that that's a natural cloud? Do you see how squared off it is? Do you see? Now I'm going back in time. So I stop at about 1:30, 1:20 a.m. 1:20 a.m. And it's still there at 6:30, though it's more defined. But it's pretty well defined at 1:50 a.m. You know, it's so easy to see reality. And look at this, looks like a creature that they have. It looks like an eye and a mouth. Well, there are so many things that you can see in the manufactured clouds, but what the hell is this? A manufactured cloud. So, this was the cloud. Phoenix, Tucson, Arizona. So we're at 3:24 a.m. and it's getting more neatly defined And look at all of this cloud. I mean, really? You're going to tell me that this... Oh my God. Look how nicely defined is this, right? Smack into Africa. We have so much cloud all over the world. I mean, the cloud... What's this? What is this pink blob? So... And they all seem to have, you know, that, well, weird shapes for sure. But on the Pacific and the Atlantic, they all seem to have that same, like a hurricane posture or... So they have loaded the atmosphere, loaded it with billions and billions and billions of nanobots. And yes, nanobots activated can create all of this cloud that we are looking at. All of this cloud. But it's oh, it's hard to... It's just hard to live this. Much easier if you have a life, you can, you know, distract yourself, you can do things, but when you can't do any of that, you're stuck in shit. So, radar now, and let's start with this. Okay, let's just start with this. This man saved a baby quail and raised it. So, I've never seen quail and until I got here, and there's a lot of quail right out front, and the subscriber who lives here said the baby quail are incredibly cute, and she's right.
We were just kids when we fell in love, not knowing what it was. I will not give you up this time, darling, just kiss me slow. Your heart is all I own, and in your eyes you're holding mine. Baby, I'm dancing in the dark with you between my arms, barefoot on the grass.
You would have to live outside and fight for it.
When you said you looked a mess, I whispered underneath my breath. You heard it, darling, you. We were just kids when we...
I love it. I love it. Very sweet. What are we doing here? Why is my computer... have you... When I'm changing from window to window, do you see how it flicks? Like... I don't know. That's a new happening for me in computer world. Let's get to weather. And earthquakes. Okay, earthquakes. I'm just going to post Dutchsinse's video here. Now, if you don't know Dutchsinse, if you're not subscribed, then I highly recommend that you subscribe, because I did get comments underneath my earthquake video earlier that Dutchsinse just a couple of days ago predicted the earthquake that happened in New Jersey. Yeah. So, he's a good channel to follow. Yeah, because I don't think very many people in New Jersey and New York and those upstate expected to have an earthquake. But if they were listening to Dutch, they could have expected it. Now, steel mill in Pueblo, Colorado, massive fire.
Crazy. Crazy.
Oh, those steel mills, those factory fires, those, flooding events, those earthquakes, those tornadoes, Pittsburgh area floods as rivers rise.
KDKA for flooding. Our team has been all around the area capturing these images from a TV floating down the street in McKeesport to flooding at Sandcastle. One crew found a car stuck in floodwaters in Youngwood, Westmoreland County. And our KDK drone team flew above the flooded Old Stonewall Golf Club in Elwood City. Tonight we have you covered from Allegheny County to Westmoreland, Beaver, Butler, Washington, Fayette, and Indiana counties. KDK's Lauren Linder is showing us how the flooding is affecting people making their way through downtown on the Parkway East.
First Alert meteorologist Mary Hours is at Point State Park to tell us when we can expect the rivers to crest.
Chris Hoffman and Shelley Bortz are showing us the effects of the rain in Beaver.
Is a couple hundred yards down the road. That is where the Connoquenessing Creek should be. It has continued to rise throughout the day and pretty much now just leave a path of debris behind. Water continued to rise throughout the day in parts of Beaver as well as Butler County.
And finally, yep, it's time to abandon ship.
Dennis Brand and his family had to get out of their house in North Sewickley Township, Beaver County, with the Connoquenessing Creek flooding the area. He had to leave around 8 last night.
I drove my truck through it still, but now you're just screwed.
Beaver County emergency crews say there were a handful of people rescued from their homes in Franklin, Marion, and North Sewickley townships. They all border the creek, and those crews say this is not out of the ordinary for the water sent debris down the creek and even slammed into the bridge going through Renfrew. You could hear the debris slamming into the metal bridge. For people living there, this is not the worst they've ever seen, and once that water does go back and dry up, the cleanup process will begin for everyone.
This is reportedly a garage that's perched on the top of that hillside, sitting just above a landslide area. The house supposedly sits farther back, and that's in a precarious position as the hillside is just falling out from under it. Potentially dramatic situation unfolding there. We're going to keep an eye on that and keep you posted.
Yeah, dramatic video there for sure from our drone team. All right.
Oh, every day, California. Severe flooding, Southern California. This was 4 days ago. I didn't even know that this flooding was taking place.
My God, this is the 101.
In Southern California, nearly 2 inches of rain falling in just 1 hour.
Oh my God, this is so bad.
Twyla Douglas filming this video yesterday alongside her husband Scott on Highway 101 in Santa Barbara County. Severe flooding temporarily shutting down the highway in both directions.
It was surreal. I had never been in water like that, and I was really worried.
Oh God, look at this poor car.
Some drivers left stranded. Officials say 8 people were rescued, and 1 driver was treated for hypothermia. The heavy rains also washing out part of Highway 1, a nearby lodge opening its doors for stranded visitors. Charmaine Schwa was escorted out of the area this afternoon.
It's a total roller coaster because we went from in one moment thinking that we'd have to start rationing our energy bars to being told we could leave.
Dangerous wet roads in Orange County causing this car to spin out and crash into a ditch, according to local reports.
Possibility that you could start to see some flooding here.
Well, I wish people would really question how it is that our major highways even interstates get flooded so frequently now and all over the country. Doesn't that seem a little weird? Maybe those drains that they have are being shut down. Earthquake damage assessments underway in New Jersey.
Port, Paul and everyone's all right here, but we're just going to pan back over to the home where you can see these two properties leaning against one another as well. City workers are here assessing what's going on. I also just want to point out that city officials arrived here to the scene and they tell us that Newark, all city buildings, including City Hall, recreation centers, are closed, that the city is currently inspecting buildings for any potential damage, power outages. That's all the information they had right now. But again, residents out here just wondering if or when they will be able to return home. And again, for any residents here in this area wondering what's going on, buildings inspectors, they are inspecting, making sure these homes are safe to enter. As of right now, they are currently not. And again, a homeless outreach team is here to make sure everyone has a safe place to go. Mary will send it.
Interesting. This seems to be the only damage that I've seen, except for a few minor cracks in roads, but shifted these homes to have almost no space in between. Huh. Okay. So, 4.8 magnitude earthquake rattles northeast.
So thank you. Videos are pouring in just hours after an earthquake rattled the northeast this morning. This is video from New Jersey. You can see a dog looking very confused as the walls shake. The United States Geological Survey says the 4.8 earthquake centered in New Jersey, just 40 miles west of New York City.
What the hell? We're having an earthquake. Holy.
As you can tell by that person's reaction, earthquakes pretty rare up there. The video is from eastern Pennsylvania. Officials are working to find out if anyone was injured. The quake, the USGS says, was either a 4.7 or 4.8.
Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York, Long Island. So the 4.8 magnitude earthquake rattles New York City, New Jersey, Long Island, Pennsylvania. Oh, all over. Epicenter was about 45 miles away from New York City. Shaking furniture and floors. Earthquakes in this region are uncommon but not unexpected. It's likely people near the epicenter. I get a little bit of my New York City back. My fabulous A for an ER pronunciation. But there's a small chance there could be an earthquake as large or larger following an earthquake like this. What else is coming for you guys? Just want to point out the depth was very, very, very shallow, 4.7 kilometers. So many were, myself, others, years ago, these very, very shallow earthquakes, especially the 10 kilometers, that depth, which seems to repeat itself over and over and over again, HAARP or HAARP-like facility earthquake, not natural. And a second strong magnitude hit, a 4 aftershock earthquake, New Jersey, northern New Jersey. People feeling that in New York City, surrounding area. Okay, you guys stay safe. Are travelers already on the move ahead of the total solar eclipse?
More and more. And with their worries about Texas traffic and whether the skies will be clear. Right now, Ingve Christensen and Maya Antonsen are on the final leg of their flight to Dallas, all the way from their home in Norway. And they're not alone.
We have folks coming from Japan and Tasmania, 11 European countries.
That's in Hillsboro, Texas, between Dallas and Waco. But 1 million Texas tourists are showing evidence they are already on the move. This is the governor of New Hampshire.
I got a call from someone from Texas yesterday saying that they were going to fly into Boston, and should they come to New Hampshire or Burlington, Vermont or Maine to see it, would shock me.
And evidence from Airbnb, where listings are nearly 90% booked for the night before the eclipse, and 25% of all reservations in the U.S. on Airbnb are in the path of totality.
I'm addicted to that feeling of that being one with the universe and being really present and feeling it.
Letitia Ferrer will have to decide if she's traveling too.
I want to see every solar eclipse on the face of the planet.
She lives in Farmers Branch, but she's traveled the world, and this will be her 21st total solar eclipse.
My life is measured in eclipses.
TxDOT, meanwhile, will be measuring traffic. 480 miles of Texas are in the path of totality, so they're halting road construction for the day and warning people not to stop on the sides of highways. And in their own public service announcement, where a cowboy lassos the moon and pulls it into a total eclipse, they end with the simplest and most important advice. Be safe, y'all.
This is getting an awful lot of attention. Why? Why? Norway, Japan, people flying in to see this? All right, let's just say I wouldn't go anywhere. I mean, I've seen them before. It's nothing. It's no big deal. Okay, but this one, they're really overplaying it. What's going to happen on the 8th? Be safe, y'all. Big Sur washout. Now, Highway 1, it's a big deal. It's a very big deal. I posted on this last night. It is a very big deal. Highway 1 is one of the most beautiful drives, probably in the world. But people, tourists, take this Highway 1 because it is so beautiful, right on the coast of California. 2 places. It's crumbling down. So what happens?
This latest closure along Highway 1, this is just north of the Rocky Creek Bridge. That's what helps connect Carmel to Big Sur. Right next to us, you see what looks like a convoy, essentially a line of people waiting to see if they can get back into this direction here. That's been kind of what Caltrans and CHP have kind of situated. Twice a day at 8 o'clock a.m. and 4 o'clock p.m. They allow cars to go through for an hour at a time. It's 8 a.m. will be the first window. They're letting the folks who are on the south side of the closure here, those people who are essentially stuck, they'll let them get out first. And then once they clear that line of cars, they'll move through this line of cars here, which we see probably about 50 cars in this line right now. Here's what happened. Here's the problem. Part of the highway here along Highway 1 washed away over the weekend. Nearly half of the southbound lane is now gone, and cars simply cannot pass through safely. But the problem is a much bigger deal for people who were south of that point. About 20 miles further down, there was already construction for another part of the highway that washed off. So at one point, there were about 1,600 people stuck in that 20-mile stretch. One couple I spoke to tells me they came to this area camping over the weekend. They're coming here from Ventura. They got separated from their campground and gear when they drove out for a hike, and they couldn't leave when they planned to last night.
Luckily, we have flexible jobs, so we were able to, just let them know that we kind of had a minor emergency situation. We're safe, but we're able to take the time.
Not the worst place to be stuck.
No, we did say that, and we're very lucky that we could get all of our stuff back, and that we're happy and healthy and safe.
Getting people used to just constant disruptions, inconvenience. You can't go anywhere. Pause. Controlled. But again, I have to say, with all of the extremely low frequencies that I see blasting away in, well, especially Southern California, but also Northern California, not as much. But years and years and years of this, it is going to affect the land. Extremely low frequencies can be emitted through the ground or into the atmosphere. And just think of a frequency vibrating through all of the land. What is it going to do? Cause landslides and mudslides and what you just saw. Now, I'm not saying that that is an absolute cause. I don't know. But I know that these frequencies have caused an awful lot of damage. And I wish I could find that abstract. It was a military abstract, extremely low frequencies. How they can destroy bridges, roads, all of these things. Can't find it. Scotland.
Snowing? What is that about? I mean, don't get me wrong, it's beautiful. But goodness gracious me, it's snowing on the 5th of April. I have no words. So, you know how people talk about the weather in Scotland and the UK, and they laugh at us about how much we discuss the weather and what it's doing. This is the 5th of April. 2 days ago it was 11 degrees. Now it's snowing. What is that about? I mean, don't get me wrong, it's beautiful.
Well, good for her that she's actually asking questions. Power knocked out for 500,000 in New England from the deadly nor'easter. The nor'easter, that's not a nor'easter, but let's just call it a nor'easter, okay?
Full and deadly nor'easter hammering parts of New England at this very moment. Extreme winds knocked out power to hundreds of thousands across the region, and some areas saw up to 1.5 feet of snow in April here. The storm also brought flooding to coastal communities. Elaine Quijano has more on this big mess.
High winds, heavy snow, and flooding. The Northeast was the final target of a week-long storm with deadly results. In Derry, New Hampshire, a grandmother was killed and her 11-year-old granddaughter was injured in this house explosion. Relatives told CBS News Boston a tree fell onto a propane tank next to the home, causing the blast. The child is expected to survive.
I would ask that everybody keeps the family in their thoughts as we process this tragedy.
The intense nor'easter, with gusts up to 60 miles per hour, knocked out power to more than 500,000 customers across New England, including southern Maine, where a house in West Gardner was engulfed in flames. First responders there believe a generator was used in the garage where the fire started. In Massachusetts,
we heard like the crack, and then the whole house shook.
This tree came crashing down, crushing a car in Nicole Saltzman's driveway in North Reading. On the coast, strong winds and high tide drove seawater onshore. The nasty weather also inundated downtown Boston, making ordinary business anything but routine.
This is not what I was hoping for, visiting Boston for the first time.
For CBS Mornings, I'm Elaine Quijano in New York.
So, 2024 Atlantic hurricane season could be among the most active on record. And that's a prediction from experts. So listen, okay? It's a very warm Atlantic Ocean. Above average hurricane season. Okay. I don't know what to say. Just make sure you're ready for anything. So scientists investigate thousands of dead Antarctic penguins for bird flu. Researchers suspect, they don't know, they suspect it's bird flu that killed the penguins. Field tests were inconclusive? So why are you coming out saying it's bird flu? What else could it be? Or are you lying like you used to lie about the polar bears? Because sure enough, climate change comes up in this article. This has the potential to have a massive impact on wildlife that is already impacted by things like climate change and other environmental stresses. Okay. It's the death planet. It's just a flippin' death planet. How climate change is hitting vulnerable Indonesian trans sex workers. What the hell do you say to this? What could you possibly say to this? What a bizarre Reuters article warns climate change is hurting Indonesian trans sex workers. Okay, I just wish that people would begin to recognize that the bizarro world that we're living in is due to the fact that so many have just accepted this or believe. Who could believe that? Who could believe it? Oh my God. All right, well, it's Reuters. Fabulous journalism from Reuters. The entire thing reads like an April Fool's joke. Yeah, the author, Leo Galou, complains that nearly 93% of respondents saw decreased income during the rainy season. Trans women are among the most affected by extreme weather linked to climate change, as well as suffering disproportionately when disasters strike. Well, maybe it's because they wear high heels, okay? And trans, they're men, so they're wearing high heels and they're trying to get away from the flooding that's coming, and they're running and they fall and they hurt themselves, and Maine shuts down over 50 farms for invisible hazard. It's the forever. I don't know what that was. Forever chemicals. Forever chemicals are going to be shutting down more and more farms. Shutting down a whole lot of not industry, because, for some reason Maine exempted corporations, but they're shutting down the farms, giving them a fair price, but shutting them down. Forever chemicals. We've got Forever Chemicals. I just posted a couple of nights ago on a live stream about these Forever Chemicals that was coming up in the Klamath River. They were removing a dam. It was dam removal. All the water gone, and all of the sediment exposing all of the chemicals. We're in big shit.
And basically what happened is back in 2022, the state of Maine came out with PFAS, which are forever chemicals. They came out with a a policy that said if you had more than 20 parts per trillion on your land, then they do that through soil testing and water testing, then you couldn't farm your land. The state of Maine put together a $31 million fund to compensate farmers and offer to buy back their land. And yesterday it was reported that they received their first application from a farmer to sell their land to the state of Maine. Now, this is all completely fair, by the way. They put together their own board of appraisers to appraise the property as if it was never contaminated and give them a fair rate of which should be an average of about $2,600 per acre.
So it's fair. It's fair to shut down the small farms in Maine and let Agra Corp continue with the forever chemicals. That's fair. Okay. I'll put the link in if anybody's from Maine and wants to listen to this, but government is for sure taking over everywhere. Everywhere. Oh, and China issues travel warning for the United States. China's Ministry of Foreign Affairs warned citizens of challenging travel conditions to the United States due to a spike in cases where Chinese students and company employees were subjected to unwarranted interrogations and harassment by U.S. airport law enforcement. Urges safety precautions and preparation for various unexpected situations. China issuing warnings to their citizens, don't travel to the United States. Yeah, USA, USA, USA. We're so free here. At least 8 Chinese students with valid documents have been searched, interrogated, or sent back from Washington Dulles Airport. Well, what's interesting is that they're crossing the border illegally and not even vetted. But if they come in the right way with the valid documents, some are being sent back. Biological sciences PhD candidate also claimed that they had been subjected to a body search, 8 hours in an interrogation room, 12 hours in solitary confinement before being deported. It appears to be a setback in the pledge by both countries to facilitate educational and other exchanges in recent months. Oh my God. So, yeah. And I'm going to read some of this. I don't know if I'm going to get through the whole thing, but I have to say, once again, John Whitehead's commentary is definitely something I highly recommend. You bookmark and you read, just a reminder of what our country is now, okay? This is what it is now. So, also really good to circulate John Whitehead's commentary. Government wants to play God. What does that mean for our freedoms? The government wants to play God. It wants the power to decide who lives or dies and whose rights are worthy of protection. But take a good, hard look at the many ways in which Americans are being denied their rights under the Constitution. American families who have their dogs shot, their homes trashed, and their children terrorized, or worse, killed by errant SWAT team raids in the middle of the night, are being denied their rights under the Constitution. Disabled individuals who are being strip searched, handcuffed, arrested, and diagnosed by police as dangerous or mentally unstable merely because they stutter and walk unevenly. School-age children as young as 4 years old who have their leg shackled, handcuffed, strip searched for violating school zero tolerance policies by chewing a Pop-Tart in the shape of a gun and playing an imaginary game of cops and robbers, or engaging in childish behavior such as crying or jumping. Unarmed citizens who are tased or shot by police for daring to hesitate, stutter, move a muscle, flee, or disagree in any way with a police order. Likewise, Americans, young and old alike, who are shot by police because they pointed a garden hose at a police officer, reached for their registration in their glove box, relied upon a cane to steady themselves, or were seen playing with air rifles or BB guns. How about female motorists who are unlikely enough to be pulled over for a questionable traffic infraction only to be subjected by police to cavity searches on the side of the road? Male pedestrians and motorists alike who are being subjected to roadside strip searches and rectal probes by police. American citizens subjected to government surveillance, whereby their phone calls are being listened into, their mail and text messages read, their movements tracked, and their transactions monitored. Homeowners who are being fined and arrested for raising chickens in their backyard, allowing the grass in their front yards to grow too long, and holding Bible studies in their homes. Decorated military veterans who are being arrested for criticizing the government on social media such as Facebook, homeless individuals who are being harassed, arrested, and run out of towns by laws that criminalize homelessness, individuals whose DNA has been forcibly collected and entered into federal and state law enforcement databases, whether or not they've been convicted of any crime. Drivers whose license plates are being scanned, uploaded to a police database, and used to map their movements, whether or not they are suspected of any crime or being denied their rights under the Constitution. The same goes for drivers who are being ticketed for running afoul of red light cameras without any real opportunity to defend themselves against such a charge. Protesters and activists who are being labeled domestic terrorists and extremists and accused of hate crimes for speaking freely are being denied their rights. Likewise, American citizens who, being targeted for assassination by drone strikes abroad without having been charged, tried, convicted of treason, are being denied their rights. Hard-working Americans whose bank accounts, homes, cars, electronics, and cash are seized by police operating according to asset forfeiture schemes that provide profit incentives for highway robbery, are being denied their rights. So what is the common denominator here? These are all American citizens endowed by their creator with certain unalienable rights that no person or government can take away from them. Among these, the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and they are all being oppressed in one way or another by a government that has grown drunk on power, money, and its own authority. We have been dancing with this particular devil for quite some time. Yes, dancing in partnership with this devil. Yeah. How many times have I said, there's a dance, we're dancing. I haven't said dancing with the devil, but we are absolutely 100% involved, unfortunately, in the demise of our own life. If we continue to wait for the government to restore our freedoms, respect our rights, rein in its abuses, and restrain its agents from riding roughshod over our lives, our liberty, our happiness, then we will be waiting forever. The Savior is you. Try to unlock the Savior. Unlock your power. Waiting for Godot. If you haven't seen that, reading the play is far better. But Samuel Beckett's Waiting for Godot, it's on YouTube. That's what people are waiting for. So, the economy. Biden says U.S. economy is world's best. Trump calls it a cesspool. The data is clear. Oh, the lying data. It's clear. By the numbers, Biden is correct. America's economy is stronger than that of other developed nations. That just means that other developed nations are really struggling because we are really struggling here. The lying mainstream media. You gotta love them. No, you don't. America has the best economy in the world. That's what Biden said. So believe it, okay? And here, the data. The data tells the truth. Illinois hit by mass layoffs as 4 factories close. Manufacturing is pretty much dead in our country. March jobs comes in red hot at 303,000, above highest estimate as unemployment rate drops. How many times have I said this is, that this is what they say, and then it's revised really quickly. In fact, the revision came in very quickly, which is, where is it? Behind today's stellar jobs, it was literally all part-time jobs and illegals. Superficially, the March report was another artificially goal-seeked blowout that guaranteed it would have zero credibility. So, what the hell are we doing listening to lie after lie after lie? It's what we know. It's what we know. It's common parlance in our country for people to lie. It's how we communicate. Yeah. I'm getting drunk on water. I'm really sick of it. Jesus. Florida residents bunk in their cars as home insurance costs cripple people's finances. Great. Residents in Florida are turning to their cars for shelter because they can't afford to keep a roof over their head. Home insurance reigning as the ultimate financial pain point. So homeowners in Florida pay $4,419 a year on average for insurance on a $300,000 dwelling. That's almost nothing. That's just that's a box in Florida. You know, that's a tiny home. That's nothing. And that's what they're paying for insurance. So a whole lot of homes in Florida cost more than that, and they're paying more than that. Painfully high when compared to the national average of $2,601. That equates to an eye-watering average of $368.25 home insurance bill every month, on top of all other expenses, mortgage, utility bills, food, everything. So, Ann Rose, a senior, this is my home, a minivan in North Fort Myers. My insurance on my vehicle is my home insurance. You either pay it or you roll the dice. If a catastrophe does happen, you'll lose more. Every day I feel like I'm just going to burst into tears. I don't. You are so fucking lucky. if you have a home, if you have family, you're lucky if you have parents that die and leave you an inheritance. You're lucky. Very. But this is what this country is made of. You know, how much do we really care that the elderly are going homeless? Biden won't refill strategic oil reserve.
Into our current economic state, chief economist, global strategist, and founder of Schiff Gold, Peter Schiff, back on the program. Peter, nice to see you. Let's get right after it. Every time you come on, I'm looking for a silver lining. I'm looking for some good news. And I don't know if I can find it today. You got anything good, or are we just going to go with what the hell's going on in reality?
The news is unfortunately bad. I'm just the messenger.
I know.
Don't shoot me. But, you talked about oil just before, I came on. And, they can't afford to refill the Strategic Petroleum Reserve because the price of oil has already gone up 22% this year. It's at $87 a barrel. Last year, oil prices were down 10% for the year, and the CPI was up 4.1. This year, we're only a quarter of the way finished with the year, and we're already up 22%. And you have Powell and everybody else saying that inflation is going to come down this year. How is that possible? With not only oil prices, the CRB is exploding, and in fact, gold prices just took out 2,300, all-time record high. This is all because inflation is coming back big, and that's what's going to make home ownership and just about everything else completely unaffordable, because prices are going to go up a lot faster, I think, this year than they did in the last couple of years, and it was bad in the last couple of years.
Oh, yeah, no kidding. It's been horrific. And I'm tired of hearing these lying pieces of from.
Let me fill in the blank for you. Lying pieces of shit talk about how great the economy is. I am too. Credit card debt surges to new all-time high. Card rates also going up. On average now, the card rates are 22%, 22%. For pretty much all cards. That's how much the rate is. Wow. Okay. Oof. We are looking at so many people having their homes ripped out from under them, their cars repossessed. That's all happening now as I speak, but we're looking at an awful lot. That's why they wanted to get everybody using their credit cards. That's why they send out, hey, Discover, hey, we'll the rate is so low, and we'll give you $5,000 the advance on the credit cards. So people would get themselves into debt. What happens when the economy, they take everything from them. And Rick Santelli, stunned over the juicy blockbuster reports jobs report. Wow. Rick Santelli. Wow. Bureau of Labor Statistics released a March jobs report that saw 33 jobs added, blowing away expectations. Economists predicted that the economy would gain 212,000 jobs in March. But wow, it just blew past that figure. And it's all a lie, because those numbers always get revised down. But they put that out for the public to see. Okay, the economy is doing fine. There are jobs out there. Go get them. Part-time jobs. Okay. And again, Gregory Mannarino, he's posting, I think, 3 videos a day now. And I just have to look at the title. IMF warns of coming panic in the financial markets. Okay. And I can't tell you how many are saying, get your money out of the banks. Get your money out of the banks. Protect yourself. People needed to get creative a long time ago. I hope you can pay off that car payment fast, Rods. All right, so 99 cents only. I never heard of these stores before. Apparently they're in Arizona, and I think it's just to the west, but they're closing them.
Breaking right now, local shoppers in shock. The discount store chain, 99 cents only stores, announcing tonight they'll be closing down and liquidating merchandise at all 371 locations starting tomorrow. Eyewitness News reporter Amy Powell live in Glendale with more on this sudden shutdown. Amy.
Mark, company executives say they had been working for months trying to figure out a way to continue operating, but in the end making what the CEO called an extremely difficult decision to close the stores. They're the stores with the name that promises shoppers will find low prices. Tonight, customers are shocked to hear that 99 cents only stores will be closing.
All the prices have gone up everywhere. So this is where we come, and it's devastating, actually. And that's actually the word my friend used, my friend that sent me the link. It's really shocking. And we buy our staples here.
99 cents only stores have been around since the early 1980s, selling everything from groceries to toys and clothing.
My mom regularly definitely shops here. She likes that there is vegetables here. Actually, she buys them, and she thinks they're reasonably priced.
I actually get toys. I work as a nurse and I get toys, so it's a cheap thing to give kids, you know.
The company that owns 99 cents only says it will start winding down business at all 371 of its locations in California, Arizona, Nevada, and Texas. The company's CEO blaming the decision to shut down the stores on issues including the impact of the pandemic and lasting challenges in the retail environment. Shoppers say the closure will be a big loss, particularly for the many Southern Californians struggling to pay rent and other expenses.
So I know a lot of people that are, low income. It's something that, not even low income, but people that just want to, make that extra dollar tighter versus going to Vons or to Ralph's.
Wow. And a whole lot of people will lose their jobs. This medical worker in Canada is being denied work because of her. This is still going on. She's applying for jobs, and one of the questions the employer is asking, how many have you had? I've been declined work over my status. I'm highlighting, the name of that new product. The term for the new product. I came to a question stating, do you have 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 of those new products? Enough is enough of this. Stop asking people for their medical history. It's none of your goddamn business, especially for employment. This needs to stop. But she says too much that YouTube just doesn't like. So I'll post the link in the chat. And you can click on the link and listen. Yeah. God, it's still going on. Blinken urges more aid for Ukraine as NATO increases resourcing efforts. More aid for Ukraine. And all the people who believe the lies about the economy hear that news and think, well, we're fine. Could there be an adult in this country that actually thinks that we're just fine, and all of this aid going to kill people is a good thing? My God. U.S. intelligence is convinced major Iranian response against Israel imminent. So, I did post a Jack Straw tweet where he said Iran was bombing Israel. I did hear from one of my subscribers in Israel, and she hadn't heard anything. She's not around Tel Aviv, I don't believe. But, so, and I questioned it because I couldn't find any information on it. So now we're getting more reports, imminent. And look, don't think that just because we fought them over there so we didn't have to fight them over here. We're not going to be fighting. But the war, I think, that we will be seeing is going to be just mass, violent chaos. And then martial law will be declared. You know? We'll have earthquakes and massive flooding and hurricanes taking out houses and disruption and inconvenience, and the economy just literally pushing so many people over the edge on a daily basis. People going over the edge as I speak, losing their jobs, losing their homes. Who knows if we're going to see massive bombing in our country. But let's just say nothing is being taken off the table. Everything's on the table. Hezbollah leader. I'm permanently tired now. And you know what? When I hear myself not pronouncing the ERs, it's soothing to me. It's the only route I have. Hezbollah leader issues chilling warning on Iran as terrorists fire rockets at Israel. So apparently they are firing rockets at Israel, but he added to being not very happy about Israel bombing the Iranian embassy in Syria, and he said Israel's very existence is in danger. Well, Israelis, can you see that you just have a little strip of land? And you got Syria, and you got Iran, and you got Iraq sending missiles, and you got Yemen, and you got an awful lot of countries angry at you. Do you realize your support for the killing of these Palestinians is going to bring you such heartache that I frankly, I'm scared. I am scared. For everyone, because there are so many Israelis and Jews all over the world that want this stopped, that don't want this. And, it's hell for Palestinians. But I'm afraid the karmic response is going to be hell for you. Great. It's the hell-death planet that we're living. U.S. urges Tehran not to target American bases if it retaliates against Israel. So much for our great ally, Americans. I mean, I read that and I thought to myself, who the hell cares? We'll betray Israel. Iran, just don't strike our military bases. You can strike Israel. Leave us alone. Jesus. Oh my God. Israel, U.S. believe Iran is about to retaliate for Israeli bombing of Syria consulate, and and we are all paying a price for these wars. Just the wars themselves. We're paying a price for everything. Okay? But oil, the refineries that have been struck by Ukraine and Russia, oil refineries, we're, playing very dangerous games with Iran. We're talking, all of us, will really be feeling, even if we don't have bombs crashing down upon our heads, don't think we're going to be spared. And that's why it's amazing to me. Yes, you will feel the wrath, because an awful lot of people who have trust in Jesus feel the wrath. Sorry, I get a little annoyed at those kind of comments, because, I guess what they're saying is that if somebody feels, you won't feel his wrath. What, his wrath? Or is this the evil shitheads in the world, their wrath? A whole lot trust in Jesus, but are really feeling the wrath. I don't understand that. I don't. And also, I wanted to say this, but I completely forgot. I see a lot of people commenting, have no fear, and trust in Jesus, believe in Jesus. If you believed in Jesus, you would have no fear. You know what? Fear. And I did get a comment from a subscriber who said fear is just it's a natural emotion and God-given. It's an emotion. And fear, it can be it's kind of like a communication to yourself. Something's up. But don't let it stop you. Don't let it stop you. I feel fear every single day. My circumstances are shit. I desperately need to find my way back to the East Coast. I desperately need to find a place where I can call a permanent, stable house. Because the home, I'm not going to ever have a home again. I need to find a place where I can actually create some semblance of life again, like I did in South Carolina, but then was yanked out of that. I have nothing. I have a car. I have 3 cats. I'd be in my car if I did not have the cats, because being in my car, it would be better than what I've been living. It's very, very, very challenging. I have no friends. I have no family. I have no help. It's scary when you're completely alone. But I don't let it stop me. And that, I think, is like the best, that I can do. This is it. That's for me. But I'm speaking for an awful lot of people who I know, when they read those comments, they feel like fear is of the devil. You know what? Go away. Go away. Because your influence is not good. And I don't want people to feel like they can't speak what they're feeling because other people might judge them. Enough. Overcome the feeling of fear with faith. God. I think these are people who haven't suffered the consequences yet. And they might even say they have. But really, when you look at what they're suffering, it's nothing compared to, let's say, an 80-year-old woman who can't afford the rent increase and is looking at being homeless. There's so much going on. How about all of the people who are targeted? Have to live suffering every single day. You know, and there's so many people who believe anger is negative and you shouldn't have that. And fear is of the devil. You know, these are God-given emotions that people feel. So that's what it's very bizarre to me. God-given emotions that people who believe in God and love God apparently judge people for having. But now, when we're seeing evil take over the world, when we are seeing so many struggling in a way that we've not seen before, when we face it every single day, and you're going to claim that these people shouldn't be having feelings about their circumstances? Cabin in the Smokies, go away. Wow, to have so much insight, yet you do not know the Lord. Okay, I'm also tired of people who, I know the Lord. The arrogance. I know the truth. You don't. Please. So, crude food prices jump as looming Israel-Iran conflict sparks 1970s oil shock fears. I think it's going to be far worse than the 70s, the recession. Israel stealing Gaza in Gaza. 12 licenses for gas exploration have been approved by Tel Aviv, allocated to 6 domestic and foreign enterprises within the maritime territories of Palestine. Israel is breaching international law. What a surprise. And what a surprise, I can't play the video. It is in the chat. Yeah. Cabin in the Smokies. Go smoke something in your cabin. IDF source reveals killing 20 civilians for every low-level target is acceptable. So I'm going to post a link to this if you want to listen to this video of Kim Ireson's. But the reason why I included it was the article that I was reading last night on Lavender, the AI technology that they have going in Israel. AI, Lavender, targets people. They have another one, the Gospel, targeting structures and buildings. But in that article, they were talking about how the IDF sources were talking about how even going after low-level Hamas resistance fighters is what they are essentially. That you can take out 20 civilians. It's justifiable to go after a low-level Hamas soldier. Doesn't matter how many civilians, really. It doesn't matter. 20, 40, But in that article, it was talking about, authorized to kill 20 civilians for one low-level Hamas soldier. I am with you on that, Rods. Yes, fear is a natural response to what we are all experiencing. So those who think you shouldn't have it and you ain't right with Jesus and it's of the devil, maybe they're not human. I still have my emotions intact. Cabin in the Smokies. You have so many good things to write. Well, we will not talk about Savior. We will just complain without hope. What hope? What hope? You want to inject the hopium? You want to talk about false hope? What hope? People who act give me hope. Not people who sit around talking all of this. People who actually take action. Help in fighting in some way all of these agendas, or one or two, three. People who act. I don't care what you say. I really care about what you do. So, that's when I'm inspired. That's when I have hope. I don't see much of it.
The entrances to this California location of Lockheed Martin for its role in supplying weapons to Israel. Lockheed Martin!
We are locked down in front of Lockheed Martin. We are putting our bodies on the line to show that this is not okay, that thousands of people have died and business cannot go on as usual.
Lockheed Martin is the world's largest weapons manufacturer. It manufactures F-16 and F-35 fighter jets, as well as Hellfire missiles, all of which have reportedly been used by Israel during its now 6-month war on Gaza.
As a Palestinian, I am seeing the direct impact of the weapons that are being produced by Lockheed Martin that are being used repeatedly to kill families, children, international aid workers, journalists. We are not willing to have genocide enablers and abettors in our communities here in the Bay Area.
We're here in the belly of the beast, so we do have an obligation to be out here and to stop their manufacturing.
This is a line of cars of Lockheed Martin employees who are unable to go to work today because the protesters have blockaded the entrance. Earlier this morning, a Lockheed Martin worker attempted to drive past the protesters' barricade.
You get out of the way. I gotta get to my job.
They really want to go to the work, so they ended up driving into me. Like, how dare you think you have the audacity to hit somebody over them stopping you from supporting genocide.
This isn't the first time protesters have shut down this Lockheed Martin facility.
This exact facility was locked down 21 years ago in protest to the Iraq war, and we're back again to show that this cannot continue.
President Biden continues to support Israel's war on Gaza, and he recently authorized the transfer of billions of dollars in bombs and fighter jets to Israel.
The people have been demanding that the Biden administration stop all aid to Israel. If Biden administration won't listen to us, we're going to handle it and shut it down ourselves.
Protesters held out in the rain for hours, and they tell me they plan to block Lockheed Martin entrances for the rest of the day.
We have a moral responsibility to prevent acts of genocide. Lockheed Martin, we know.
I'm not sure why they were wearing masks, maybe to conceal, how they look, but good on them. Now, do I think that, any of these protests are going to have any major effect? No. Why? Because they're too small. because American adults can't get over the insignificant shit that keeps them apart, and we can't unite even the most evil of times to stop anything. So, but every time I see anybody taking any action, much respect and thank you. You won't see this on mainstream media. My God. IDF. Just, they do this to intimidate, they do this, to break up families.
Good morning, Gail. Israel's military has blamed its killing of the 7 World Central Kitchen aid workers on operational misjudgment and has expressed its, quote, deep sorrow. It says members of its armed forces were convinced they were hitting Hamas, but they were in violation of standard operating procedures.
Israel's military says it wrongly believed that a militant was inside one of the World Central Kitchen vehicles. It says after striking that car, it identified people moving to the second car, which it also hit, and then the third, killing all 7 aid workers. The report also found that the Israeli military's cameras failed to detect the markings on the World Central Kitchen vehicles. It confirms in large part the account of the attack given earlier this week by Chef Jose Andres, World Central Kitchen's founder.
They were targeted systematically, car by car.
Israel also confirmed that World Central Kitchen was coordinating its movements in Gaza with the military.
All I can say at the moment is to offer my apologies and say that we share in the grief.
Despite the deaths of the aid workers, a spokesman for Israel's government insisted yesterday that Israel is setting a, quote, new gold standard in preventing civilian casualties.
Yet, President Biden has said that this was not a standalone incident and Israel has not done enough to protect civilians. I mean, is that a wake-up call for Israel?
Our fight is with Hamas, not the people of Gaza, and we will do our utmost to limit civilian casualties on both sides.
But the medical aid group Doctors Without Borders said yesterday it does not accept the incident was simply a mistake, claiming it's part of a pattern of deliberate attacks.
Humanitarian workers are protected. No ifs, no buts. We do not accept the narrative of regrettable incidents.
In a phone call yesterday between President Biden and Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, the president said US policy on Gaza will depend on Israel taking steps to reduce civilian harm and address the safety of aid workers. After that, Israel said it would increase aid deliveries to Gaza, including through Ashdod Port and the Erez crossing, the main checkpoint in northern Gaza that Hamas attacked on October 7th, closed since the beginning of the war.
Israel's military says 2 officers have already been dismissed, and it said...
Right, so they're scapegoating the low-level officers. But that was a targeted hit. I mean, this charity had contacted the IDF. They gave their coordinates They had everything, the whole protocol, and they were targeted. And yeah. I find it very, very sad that there are so many people in the world. And with this kind of evil that is now just taking over the world, you got the illegal migrants, you've got the wars, you've got innocent people just being killed, you've got people being pushed off the financial edge, you got people losing their homes due to weather warfare, you've got the United Nations coming down for the New World Order. It's so obvious now, and still people are just anyway. I do see, this this person in the chat writing, "Our Father who art in heaven," and when I started really thinking about that prayer, "Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven." What happened? See, when I started to really think about that, as a kid I grew up, saying it every now and then, but nothing was ever. I went to church a couple of times. "Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven." So that's a prayer. God wanting people to create heaven on earth. Something went wrong. Something went wrong. Big time. So this, it's very upsetting. I saw this. I didn't even know what to make of it. This was a couple of days ago. This 15-year-old girl was kidnapped. So they have a police chase chasing the car, and this girl gets out of the car, and it's the victim, and you can hear the police screaming at other police, "Stop shooting her." And they killed her. "15 years old. Chicago police called to illegal immigrant shelter hundreds of times in 2023. Violent crimes. That came through a records request, a FOIA request. Ohio sheriff vows to prevent deportation of a migrant facing murder charges.
Now with the sheriff of Butler County, Ohio, Richard K. Jones. Sheriff, good to have you this morning. As Henna was just laying out for us, this guy has been deported 7 times, jailed 11, maybe this makes a dozen times now. So he's on law enforcement radar. How does it keep happening?
Basically, he keeps coming back. He has friends and relatives here, I suppose. Hey, listen. They come across the border. It's so easy to get across. He prefers to be deported where he don't have to face the music. He goes to court. Sometime ICE gets him. Sometime they don't get him. And he sells drugs. He's a terrible animal. He comes here. He's killed somebody that would be alive today if he had been deported and we had our border secure. He's not the only one.
Yeah,
We've had Look, we've had 1,000 prisoners in our jail from other countries in the past 3 years. We've had over 1,000 prisoners, and we've had 2,000 crimes committed by those 1,000 people. This isn't the first time.
But why not on that third or fourth time? Why does law enforcement not say, you know what, we're not going to let him out from behind bars this time? Or what's the reasoning?
The reasoning is ICE comes and gets them, the federal government, and we have no say-so over that. They deport them. It's that way all over the country. We prefer this time, the way we look at it, his parole officer isn't even born yet. That's how long he's going to be in prison.
Wow, that's a powerful statement.
It's true. Not even born yet. Imagine that. And we're going to do everything we can. He's not going to get deported this time. He's going to get a taste of good old USA prison in Ohio.
Yeah. From his mouth to God's ears. Even deporting criminal migrants, they come across the border again. Tuberculosis cases reported in Chicago's immigrant shelters. According to a spokesperson, there is no cause for concern at this time because the disease has been contained and the affected illegal immigrants are being treated. We do not consider this a matter presenting a substantial threat to the public. However, that bird flu, 100 times worse than COVID. Bookend is itchy. Oh, the wind died down. Oh, thank God. Finally. So, but this expert he's not jiving with another expert that I may have open here, but that other expert citing cases like 69 cases of tuberculosis. I included in a live stream another article where kids had tuberculosis. All of those illegal immigrants going into the schools. Yay, USA, USA, USA. And Bristol Cathedral in UK today. Outside of the cathedral look, I would never have guessed this is in the UK. Is your car spying on you? All right. This has been going on for years. I've posted many videos, including this information. But yes, people are feeling the consequences. They have so many weapons they can use against us.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Linda Stouffer. A Henry County woman learned it was happening to her when her insurance bills skyrocketed, and now she's warning others about the issue. New at 6, Channel 2 consumer investigator Justin Gray is live with how you can find out if your data has also been shared. Justin.
Yeah, Linda, Tanika Clay requested her LexisNexis consumer file. This is it. More than 200 pages, most of it from General Motors, data about her driving from the onboard computer in her car. So this is it.
This is it.
Hundreds of pages.
Hundreds of pages. This is my LexisNexis consumer disclosure report. I'm appalled.
Hundreds of pages of data on Tamika Clay's LexisNexis credit report from her Chevy Camaro.
Connecting to OnStar.
She's learned the OnStar system is tracking things like acceleration events, high-speed events, and hard brake events. And GM shared 603 of those entries with data brokers.
OnStar app, you're thinking safety and if it gets stolen, but certainly not spying on me and sending information to the insurance companies.
It's the exact same scenario described in this proposed class action lawsuit filed just one day after Clay received her LexisNexis report this month. Clay requested the report because her insurance had gone up 80%. And when she tried to shop around, an insurance broker sent a denial letter and suggested she check her LexisNexis records to see why.
All this means I'm a bad insurance risk and hike my premiums.
Your car's, essentially turning into a computer and collecting data on you as you drive.
Michael Brooks is executive director of the Center for Auto Safety and says technology is ahead of the law here.
Right now, there are no federal laws requiring that automakers have privacy protections for their owners or cybersecurity protections on their vehicles.
After the lawsuit became public, GM announced it is severing ties with two data brokers, telling us in a statement, quote, as of March 20th, OnStar Smart Driver customer data is no longer being shared with LexisNexis or Versic. Customer trust is a priority for us, and we are actively evaluating our privacy processes and policies. Anyone can do what Clay did. Request their LexisNexis Consumer Disclosure Report under the Fair Credit Reporting Act.
Never did I imagine that it would be spying on us and sending information about driving habits. That's just unbelievable.
So, yeah. And they're collecting data on everyone for everything. So, it's not just your car insurance, but they're sending drones over now, increasing people's home insurance based on that data that they find around your home, if you have any clutter or anything like that. Medical insurance, you're going to start feeling the medical insurance increase because, well, you bought potato chips and you drink soda, so therefore you're a medical risk. That's coming too. Oh boy, are we in trouble. Oh boy. And so many people are just going to get snagged by all of this and just pulled right on down. Home insurance in Florida. Well, it's putting people in their cars. In their cars to live. Family's new home turns into squatter battleground. A look at squatters' rights in Texas. All right, I'm going to play. This so angers me because squatters should not have rights at all. So, who is behind all of this legislation that got passed in states that have given squatters rights? They are illegally entering someone else's property and then staying there. That's called breaking in entry. They should be arrested. They should not have rights over the owner. Okay.
5 o'clock, squatters' rights have dominated national headlines in the recent weeks.
So we sent the I-Team to find out how Texas law impacts these types of situations. We are taking a look at what makes someone a squatter. How can you protect yourself? And how can you have a squatter removed? The News 4 I-Team's Jordan Elder joins us with the answers.
Squatters breaking into my house again through the window.
Abram Mendez and his wife bought this home and hired this man to do some tile work. They allowed him to stay a few days, even made him sign a contract saying it was short term. But now they say the man won't leave.
We're not talking even a month yet. I believe today would be a month. And he had his long game already in mind.
Mendez says the man has barricaded the front room of this house. He's claiming squatters' rights.
I didn't allow you, I didn't allow him.
I can show you his rights.
But attorneys we spoke to say that's not how squatters' rights work in Texas. They say the man is a squatter, but he hasn't met all of these requirements to...
I don't care. This legislation needs to be repealed in every state. All right, but... yeah. Flipping the... good becomes evil and evil becomes good. just in case you want to see the last minute, I'll put the link in if you don't know much about squatting. And we've got a lot of crime going on, a whole lot. Family of a mother, this is the mother, this is the 3-year-old, found dead at Tom's Lick Park. And they're unsure of the cause. Dead. Well, this is not an isolated incident. This is happening across the country every day. Kindergartners, first graders left at Miami-Dade Fair during a field trip. Parents demand answers. 4 or 5-year-olds brought to a fair, but they weren't returned to the school. They were left at the fair. I do go to, all right, adults, we know, I've known, Americans we're not quite right. As they say in the South, you ain't right. Okay. But the you ain't right has really kind of been hitting home runs a whole lot. So adults brought them to the fair, but didn't return them back to the school for a field trip. 4, 5-year-olds. I'll put the link in to this broadcast if you want to listen to it, but I really, look, you know, we've learned from Synergy, we've learned from other people, I've done the research on electromagnetic frequencies. I know how they can interfere with sane thinking and make it insane thinking and make you do things that you wouldn't ordinarily do if you weren't externally interfered with. And the insanity that I'm seeing on a daily basis, that's always a question for me. All right, well, new Mayo Clinic study finds mild to severe atrophy in testes of boys on puberty blockers. I'll put the link in. If you know of anybody who has any child, whether boy or girl, going through their transition and their parents are being told that it's completely safe, no problem, you might want to send them how unsafe it is. Couldn't be more unsafe. Children are really the evil, the obviousness of the evil. When it relates to children, you would think adults would be out of their mind with outrage. No. And apparently there's a new TikTok challenge. Kids are lighting themselves on fire and filming it. It's called the Fireball Challenge. 12-year-old son of an Arizona mother, Tiffany Roper, was rushed to the hospital after the Fireball Challenge went horribly wrong. Roper woke up to her son, Corey, screaming in pain. When she rushed to his room, he was on fire. They told me Corey had held a bottle of rubbing alcohol in one hand and lit it with the other, not realizing how quickly rubbing alcohol burns off. Corey suffered from 2nd and 3rd degree burns, covering 45 to 50% of his body. He was in a coma for 2 weeks and spent a month in the hospital. He even needed to learn how to walk again. Oh my God. Oh God. All right. There's so much more. Mississippi woman offers warning after losing home. Another woman whose husband died, and then, forget about grieving, she was scammed. I'll put the link in. There are so many people who are scammed, and scam suffering the consequences of losing their homes. Wild Laura is very concerning. Squatter rights in New York. Foul play suspected in disappearance of 2 Kansas women. The disappearance of women every single day. Dramatic video shows a woman escaping kidnapper. And this is happening every single day. So there's a reason why I have been saying be very careful. Awareness, 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 especially if you're a parent with a child, a young child. You're out and about with your children, be very careful. And make sure that you have a laser-like view on your children. And Portland family sues Portland Public School District for $9 million after their daughter was allegedly gang raped in a school bathroom. The girl was allegedly assaulted by 2 male students in the school's Uniting Neighborhoods program. It gets worse. The boys only received 1 day of suspension, and the school district didn't even call the police. Instead, the school conducted their own investigation. The girl was allegedly lured into the bathroom with the boys. They then, well, I can't even go there. And that's the principal. That's the school. Yeah. So much for girl power. So much for girls. They're literally obliterating women and girls with this trans crap. But schools have been doing this forever. Not reporting it, investigating, slap on the hands. The message it sends to the girl, you don't count. Berkeley mother allegedly killed by daughter. Ugh. Teen charged with manslaughter after man punched in the head, later died on Easter Sunday. A hockey dad. Woman breaks her neck inside St. Clair County Jail and isn't taken to the hospital for days. She just lies there. She's not taken to the hospital. She's wheeled into another room. She doesn't eat. She doesn't drink. And she made a mistake. She was caught drinking and driving. She fell off one of the bunk beds in a cell and broke her neck. What is wrong with us? I mean, it's clear to me that so many have lost their humanity. And there's nothing that you can do. You know, it's not like you can inject humanity into people. They're just gone. But there is an awful lot of people who, you know, kind of need to check themselves. It's and do the right thing. Mom accused of murdering son says she's a princess and has been under surveillance by Space Force. Is she crazy? Or is she speaking the truth? A whole lot of people will think, oh, she's crazy. Well, people's lives are being ruined by people who are literally targeting them, putting voices in their heads, screwing around with their views, their opinions, their own self, and having their lives ruined. And people work and get paid to do it. So don't tell me police and military are the only order followers, because everyone is an order follower. Paycheck? Okay, I'll do it. Give me my paycheck. And that means that not a lot of people have any principles that they actually stand on that guide them. You have principles today that guide you, and you don't have a choice, because that's how strong they are. You get ruined. Well, it depends on what the principles are. You could have, I guess, satanic principles and be doing beautifully. I can't. Oh, just a few minutes. This is Logic Before Authority. I will post the link to this. But he posted this, I think today, or maybe, I'm not sure. But this is what, a day ago, this is what grocery stores are now selling? Yes, this is the Death Planet. Welcome to the Death Planet. Go into the grocery store and pick up a death reef.
Let me ask y'all guys a question. Let me ask y'all guys a question. You see where I'm at in a grocery store. When is it that death has gotten so popular that they're selling graveyard wreaths in the grocery store? As you can see, it's on both aisles. On the other aisle over there, facing the other way, and this way, and all the way down the aisle on both sides. See the ones on the back side there? These are all graveyard fake flowers. Look at them. There's rows of them up there. Rows of them up there. These are all fake flowers for a graveyard. And let's look a little bit further here. Let's look a little bit further. Look on top of this. There's more. Now look over here in the vegetable department. Look at them up here above the vegetables and fruits. So those right up there are $43. Yes, all fake flowers. And look, there's ones behind the ones. They're loaded. Stacks of them up there. Over here too. Look at this. I'm surrounded by graveyard decorations in a grocery store. That should tell you something ain't right.
And something ain't right, and don't we know it? So we have to be right to the best of our ability every single day. We've got an awful lot of people dying. Okay? Young ages. We have you want to talk the genocide going on over there? How about the genocide going on in Western countries particularly? And of course we have the genocide. We've got a genocide going on in USA genocide, and I can't think of the country's name, and I'm so sorry. And since we're not doing anything about anything, what we can do and what we have to do as far as I'm concerned, but what we have control over is what we do on a daily basis in our communities, that we help one another, that we help in our communities. We stop with our own divide and conquer measures that we use, thinking we're better than another group of people because we believe this, we believe that. We unite. We actually do that prayer instead of just speaking the words. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as in heaven. It's hard, but I think that's what we're here to do, to the best of our ability. So, live honestly and speak honestly. Trust. Don't betray it. Because when you do, you could end up killing somebody with your betrayal of that trust. Your word means everything. You are your word. And if you speak words and they're empty, you're empty. So, on that note, thank you for showing up. I hope to see you tomorrow night, and be safe. Awareness, awareness, awareness. And good night and good luck. Ciao, guys.